The fluorescent lights of St. Catherine's Hospital hummed their eternal song as Dr. Sarah Chen pushed through the emergency room doors at 2:47, and her third consecutive night shift was taking its toll. But the adrenaline that came with being a trauma surgeon kept her moving. She'd learned long ago that sleep was a luxury, not a requirement. What she hadn't learned was how to prepare for Officer Maya Rodriguez. The call came in at 2:52 a.m. Officer down, gunshot wound, 5 minutes out. Sarah's team assembled with practiced efficiency, but when the ambulance doors burst open and she saw the woman on the gurney, something shifted in her chest. Even pale and bleeding, even unconscious with an oxygen mask covering half her face, the officer was striking. Strong jaw, dark hair matted with sweat, hands that looked like they could hold the world together or tear it apart. GSW to the left shoulder. Entry and exit wounds, significant blood loss. The paramedic rattled off as they wheeled her in. BP dropping, pulse thready. She went down protecting a kid during a convenience store robbery. Of course she did, Sarah thought, snapping into surgeon mode even as something else entirely awakened inside her. Let's move. OR2, now. The surgery took 4 hours. Sarah's hands moved with absolute precision, repairing damaged tissue, stopping the bleeding, ensuring that this brave woman would live to protect people another day. Around hour 3, when the worst was over and her team had settled into the rhythm of closing, Sarah allowed herself to really look at her patient's face. She was beautiful. Not in the polished, practiced way Sarah had grown accustomed to in her ex-girlfriend Amanda, who'd left her 6 months ago for someone with more normal hours and less baggage. This woman's beauty was different, earned through hard work, marked by a small scar above her left eyebrow. Defined by the strength evident even in unconsciousness, Sarah mentally shook herself. This was her patient. Nothing more, but the universe, it seemed, had other plans. Maya woke to white walls and the smell of antiseptic. Her shoulder screamed in protest as she tried to sit up, and a firm but gentle hand pressed her back down. Easy there, Officer Rodriguez. You're lucky to be alive. Maya turned her head and found herself staring into the most remarkable eyes she'd ever seen, brown with flecks of gold. Intelligent and warm, set in a face that belonged to a woman who looked like she hadn't slept in a week but still managed to be absolutely stunning. The kid? Maya's voice came out as a rasp. The doctor her name tag read Dr. Sarah Chen smiled, and Maya felt that smile somewhere deep in her chest. Fine, not a scratch. You threw yourself in front of him. It's my job. Your job almost got you killed. Sarah's smile faded. The bullet missed your subclavian artery by centimeters. If it had hit that, you would have bled out before the ambulance arrived. Maya managed a weak grin. But it didn't. Guess I'm lucky. Luck had nothing to do with it. You had a skilled surgical team. Sarah checked the monitors, made a note on her tablet. And you're going to need to take it easy for at least 6 weeks. No active duty, 6 weeks? Maya tried to sit up again, winced. I can't. You can and you will. Sarah's voice was firm, but her eyes were kind. I didn't spend 4 hours putting you back together just to have you tear out my work playing hero again. Their eyes met and something passed between them, a spark, a recognition, a possibility. Maya felt it down to her bones, and from the way Sarah quickly looked away, she felt it too. Get some rest, Officer Rodriguez. Maya, call me Maya. Sarah paused at the door, looked back. Get some rest, Maya. Sarah told herself she was just being thorough when she checked on Maya 3 times during her remaining rounds. She told herself it was standard protocol when she personally oversaw the transfer to a regular room. She told herself it was purely professional interest when she found herself reading Maya's chart for the 4th time that morning. She was lying to herself. And she knew it. The problem was Sarah had sworn off relationships after Amanda. Had sworn off the heartbreak, the disappointment, the feeling of never being enough because she loved her work too much. Had sworn off the vulnerability that came with letting someone in. But Maya Rodriguez, with her quiet strength and her selfless bravery and her devastating smile, was making Sarah reconsider those vows. Over the next 3 days, Sarah found reasons to check on Maya that became increasingly transparent. Adjusting pain medication, monitoring for infection, ensuring proper physical therapy protocols. Each visit lasted a little longer than the last. They talked about everything and nothing. Maya spoke about growing up in a family of cops, about the weight of the badge and the satisfaction of protecting people. Sarah shared stories about medical school, about the impossible hours and the incredible highs of saving lives. They discovered a shared love of terrible action movies and good coffee, a mutual disdain for small talk and pretense. On the third day, Maya's partner visited a burly man named Detective James Martinez, who took one look at the way Sarah was adjusting Maya's pillows and smirked. "So this is the famous Dr. Chen I've been hearing about," he said after Sarah left. "Maya, you didn't mention she was—" "Don't," Maya warned, but she was blushing. "I'm just saying I haven't seen you this animated since. Well, ever. And the way she looks at you, James." Fine. But for the record, I approve." He squeezed her good shoulder. "After Rachel, you deserve someone who looks at you like you hung the moon." Maya flinched at her ex-wife's name. Rachel, who'd left 3 years ago because she couldn't handle the stress of being married to a cop, couldn't handle the late nights and the danger and the constant fear. Rachel, who'd walked out and taken a piece of Maya's heart with her. "It's not like that," Maya said quietly. "She's my doctor. She's just doing her job." But even as she said it, she didn't believe it. Sarah was reviewing charts in the doctor's lounge when her colleague, Dr. Patricia Kim, sat down beside her. "You're doing it again," Patricia said without preamble. "Doing what?" "That thing where you get interested in someone and then panic and pull away. I watched you do it with that cute pharmaceutical rep last year." Sarah sighed. Patricia had been her best friend since their residency. There was no point in denying it. "She's a patient, Pat. Who's being discharged tomorrow? After which she won't be your patient anymore. It's too complicated. My hours, her job, it's a recipe for disaster. Or it's a recipe for something amazing." Patricia studied her. "When was the last time you saw you light up the way you do when you talk about her? Amanda certainly never made you look like that. Amanda was safe. Amanda was boring. And she still left you." Patricia's voice softened. "Sarah, you're allowed to take a chance. You're allowed to want something beyond this hospital." Sarah stared at her charts, at the neat rows of medical jargon that made sense in a way human emotions never did. What if I'm not good at it? At being with someone? What if you're better at it than you think? Patricia stood, squeezed Sarah's shoulder. "Life's short, my friend. Sometimes you have to leap." Maya's discharge day came too quickly. Sarah busied herself with the paperwork, the instructions, the prescriptions, anything to avoid the moment when Maya would walk out of the hospital and out of her life. "You're all set," Sarah said, keeping her voice professionally neutral. "Follow up with your primary care physician in 2 weeks, physical therapy 3 times a week, and don't overdo it. No lifting anything heavier than a coffee cup for at least a month. Got it, Doc?" Maya stood, favoring her injured shoulder. She looked like she wanted to say something else, but the words seemed stuck. Sarah knew the feeling. "Well," Maya finally said, "thank you. For everything. For saving my life, just doing my job." "Right, your job." Maya picked up her bag with her good hand. "Take care of yourself, Dr. Chen." She was at the door when Sarah heard herself say, "Sarah." Maya turned. "What? My name?" "It's Sarah, and Sarah's heart was pounding. This was insane. This was unprofessional. This was terrifying. "I'd like to check on your recovery, personally, maybe over coffee?" The smile that spread across Maya's face was like sunrise. "I'd like that. I'd like that a lot." They exchanged numbers, Maya's hand shaking slightly as she typed Sarah's contact information into her phone. At the door, she paused again. "Sarah? Yes? For the record, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since I woke up and saw you standing there. I know it's probably against a dozen rules for you to—" "It's not," Sarah interrupted. "You're not my patient anymore. And for the record, I've been looking for excuses to check on you since the moment you came out of surgery. Then I guess we're both in trouble. The best kind of trouble." Sarah agreed. Their first coffee date happened 3 days later at a small cafe near the hospital. Sarah arrived 10 minutes early, changed her outfit 3 times in the hospital bathroom, and nearly talked herself out of going twice. Maya was already there, sitting at a corner table, and she stood when Sarah approached. She wore jeans and a simple blue button-down that brought out her eyes. And Sarah's breath caught. "Hi," Maya said. "Hi yourself." They sat, and for a moment, the easy conversation they'd shared in the hospital seemed to have deserted them. Then Maya knocked over the sugar dispenser, reaching for her coffee. And Sarah laughed, and just like that, the awkwardness dissolved. They talked for 3 hours. About Maya's recovery. Good. Though she was going stir-crazy without work, and Sarah's latest shift exhausting. But she'd saved 2 lives, so worth it. About their families, Maya's loud, loving Puerto Rican clan who gathered every Sunday for dinner. Sarah's quieter Chinese-American family who showed love through actions rather than words. "My parents still ask why I'm not married," Sarah confided. "Why I haven't settled down like my sister." "What do you tell them?" "That I'm married to my job." Sarah stirred her coffee. Which, honestly, isn't far from the truth. My ex certainly thought so. Rachel said the same thing about me, Maya admitted. That I cared more about the badge than her. Maybe she was right. Or maybe you both just hadn't met the right person yet. Their eyes met across the table, and Sarah felt that pull again, stronger now. Maya reached across the table, her fingers brushing Sarah's, and it felt like coming home. "Can I be honest?" Maya asked, "Please." "I'm terrified. I haven't let myself feel this since Rachel left. And my job, your job, the hours, the danger. I can list a dozen reasons why this is a bad idea." "So can I," Sarah admitted. "I'm very good at talking myself out of things that scare me. But I haven't been able to stop thinking about you either. And I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of playing it safe." Sarah turned her hand over, lacing her fingers through Maya's. "I want to try." "If you do." Maya's answer was in her smile and the way she squeezed Sarah's hand, in the hope that lit up her eyes. "Yeah, I really do." They took it slow. Coffee dates became dinner dates. Dinner dates became long walks through the city, talking until the early morning hours. Sarah learned that Maya sang off-key in the shower and had a secret addiction to reality TV cooking shows. Maya discovered that Sarah was terrible at cooking but made the best scrambled eggs at 2 a.m., and that she cried during sad movies even though she tried to hide it. 6 weeks after Maya's injury, they had their first kiss. It happened on Sarah's couch. During a movie neither of them was watching. Maya had been cleared for light duty, and she'd stopped by Sarah's apartment still in uniform. Sarah had teased her about the look, called her Officer Hottie, and Maya had blushed and pulled her close. And suddenly they were kissing. It was soft and tentative at first, a question asked and answered. Then deeper, more urgent, weeks of wanting poured into that moment. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Sarah rested her forehead against Maya's. "I'm falling for you," Sarah whispered. "It terrifies me and thrills me, and I just needed you to know." "I'm already there," Maya said. "Had been since you told me to call you Sarah." They made love for the first time that night, slow and reverent, learning each other's bodies the way they'd learned each other's hearts, with patience and care and wonder. Sarah traced the scar on Maya's shoulder, the evidence of her bravery. And Maya mapped the tension Sarah carried in her back from too many hours hunched over operating tables. Afterward, tangled together in Sarah's sheets, Maya said, "I need you to know what you're signing up for. My job, it's dangerous. Any call could be the one that doesn't end well. I can't promise I'll always come home safe." Sarah propped herself up on one elbow, looked down at the woman who'd already claimed so much of her heart. "And I need you to know that my job will sometimes take priority. That I'll get called in on our dates, that I'll fall asleep mid-conversation. That there will be nights when I'm too exhausted to be good company. I know, so we both know what we're getting into." "Doesn't make it less scary," Maya said. "No," Sarah agreed. "But maybe we can be scared together." Their first real fight happened 3 months in. After Sarah missed Maya's family dinner for the 3rd time because of an emergency surgery. "I know your job is important," Maya said, her voice tight with frustration. "I know people's lives depend on you. But my family, they're starting to think you're avoiding them." "I'm not avoiding them," Sarah shot back, exhaustion making her sharp. "I'm trying to save lives. I can't just clock out because it's inconvenient." "I never said you should. I'm just asking you to try. To prioritize us sometimes. Like you prioritized us when you volunteered for that stack out last week. The one that kept you gone for 48 hours? Maya flinched. That's different, is it? Or are we both guilty of the same thing? They stood on opposite sides of Sarah's living room, the distance between them feeling like miles. Then Maya's phone rang dispatch, calling her in. An active shooter situation, the anger drained from Sarah's face instantly, replaced by fear. Maya, I have to go. Maya grabbed her jacket, her weapon. At the door, she paused. I love you. I'm sorry I picked a fight. I love you. I love you too. Be safe. Please be safe. The kiss Maya pressed to her lips was desperate, fierce, a promise and a prayer. Then she was gone and Sarah was left alone with her fear and her coffee and the terrible knowledge that this might be the last time. Maya came home 6 hours later, unharmed but exhausted. She found Sarah asleep on the couch, her phone clutched in her hand. The news still playing on the TV, Sarah woke as Maya sat down beside her. And without a word, she pulled Maya into her arms. I'm sorry, Sarah whispered. I'll try harder. With your family, with making time. You're right, I need to prioritize us. I'm sorry too. I know your work is important. I need to know I matter too. You matter more than anything. Sarah pulled back to look at her. Maya, you matter more than anything. They held each other as the sun came up, and Sarah understood that this was what love meant, not the absence of fear or conflict, but the choice to work through it together. The choice to keep showing up, keep trying, keep fighting for each other even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. Sarah made it to the next family dinner. And the one after that. She learned to make Maya's abuelas eras con angels, even though her first 3 attempts were disasters that had the whole family in tears from laughing. Maya's mother pulled her aside one evening and said, You make my daughter happy. I haven't seen her smile like this since before Rachel. Thank you for that. Maya started leaving little notes for Sarah around the apartment in her medical bag, in the coffee maker tucked into her scrubs. You're amazing. Kick ass today, Dr. Chen. Can't wait to come home to you. They were small things, but they reminded Sarah that she was loved. Even on the hardest days, they learned each other's rhythms. Sarah learned to wake up when Maya's nightmares came memories of the shooting, of other close calls. She'd hold her, whisper her back to calm, remind her that she was safe. Maya learned to recognize when Sarah was crashing after a particularly brutal shift, would order takeout and draw her a bath and just be there, steady and solid. A year in, Maya met Sarah's parents. Sarah was terrified, but her mother took one look at the way Maya held Sarah's hand and smiled. She's good for you, she told Sarah later. You look happy. Really happy. I am, Sarah said and meant it, but life they both knew. Had a way of testing happiness. The call came at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, almost exactly 2 years after they'd met. Sarah was at the hospital, finishing a routine surgery when her phone buzzed with a number she didn't recognize. Is this Dr. Sarah Chen? Yes, this is Detective Martinez. Maya's partner. There's been an incident. You need to get to County General now? Sarah's hands went numb. County General was across town, not where she worked, which meant Maya hadn't been brought to her, hadn't been placed in her capable hands. How bad? Just get here. She's asking for you. Sarah broke every traffic law getting there. She burst through the E-doors and found Martinez pacing, his face grim. What happened? Domestic disturbance call. Guy had a gun, had already shot his wife. Maya went to get the kids out. She got them out, but his voice broke. She took 3 rounds. Chest and abdomen. They've got her in surgery now. Sarah felt the world tilt. Who's operating? Dr. Patel. Vikram Patel, good surgeon. Excellent surgeon. But not Sarah. Sarah, who knew every inch of Maya's body, who'd held her heart in her hands before. I need to scrub in. Sarah. You can't. The hell I can't. Sarah was already moving toward the surgical wing. Martinez caught her arm. You're too close to this. You know the rules. I don't care about the rules. That's Maya in there. Sarah's voice cracked. Please. I have to help her. Martinez's eyes were kind but firm. The best thing you can do for her is let Patel do his job. And be here when she wakes up. If she wakes up, Sarah's treacherous mind supplied. 3 gunshot wounds to the chest and abdomen. The odds weren't good. The odds were terrible. Sarah sank into a waiting room chair, her surgeon's mind already running through the possible damage, the complications, the statistical probability of survival. Maya was strong, but strength only went so far against bullets and blood loss. The surgery took 7 hours. 7 hours of Sarah pacing, praying to God she wasn't sure she believed in, making bargains with the universe. Take anything, she pleaded. My career, my sleep, my pride. Just let her live. When Patel finally emerged, still in his scrubs, Sarah couldn't read his expression. She's alive, he said, and Sarah's knees nearly gave out. It was close. We had to remove her spleen, repair a punctured lung, and there was significant internal bleeding. The next 48 hours are critical. But she make it? She's a fighter. If anyone can pull through this, it's her. Sarah was allowed in to see her 15 minutes later. Maya looked so small in the hospital bed, so pale, hooked up to a dozen machines. Sarah sank into the chair beside her and took her hand, careful of the 4. Hey, Officer Rodriguez, she whispered. You scared the hell out of me. That's not allowed, okay? I'm the one who's supposed to do the scaring with my crazy hours and my terrible cooking. Her voice broke. You have to wake up. You have to come back to me. I'm not done with you yet. We haven't even talked about moving in together, or getting married, or... Sarah stopped, realizing what she'd just said. Marriage, she wanted to marry this woman. Wanted forever with her. So you have to wake up, she continued. Because I have a proposal to plan, and I can't do that if you're not here. I need you here, Maya, I need you. The machines beeped their steady rhythm. Maya didn't stir. Sarah stayed. Maya woke 3 days later. Sarah was dozing in the chair beside her bed, head tilted at an awkward angle that would give her a terrible crick in her neck. When she felt Maya's fingers twitch in hers, her eyes flew open. Maya? Maya's eyes fluttered, opened. Hi, she rasped. Hi yourself. Sarah was crying, didn't care. You're awake. Oh God, you're awake. Did I hear you say something about a proposal? Sarah laughed through her tears. That's what you remember from 3 days of unconsciousness? Kind of an important thing to remember. Maya's smile was weak but real. Did you mean it? Yeah. I meant it. But we can talk about that later. Right now you need to focus on recovering. Sarah Chen, are you trying to propose to me while I'm lying in a hospital bed? Technically, I'm not proposing yet. That comes later. With a ring. And a better plan than blurting it out while you're unconscious. For the record, Maya said, squeezing her hand with what little strength she had. Whenever you do ask, the answer's yes. Sarah leaned down, pressed a gentle kiss to Maya's forehead. Then I guess I better make it good. Maya's recovery was long and hard. Harder than the first time. There were setbacks and scares, infections and complications. There were days when Maya was so frustrated with her body's limitations that she lashed out, and days when Sarah was so exhausted from shuttling between her work and Maya's bedside that she snapped back. But they worked through it together. Sarah took a leave of absence from the hospital the first time in her career she prioritized anything over work. She was there for every physical therapy session, every doctor's appointment, every small victory and crushing setback. She learned to help Maya shower when she couldn't lift her arms. Learned to cook actual meals beyond scrambled eggs. Learned that sometimes the best medicine was just being present. Maya learned to accept help, which was perhaps her hardest lesson. Learned to let Sarah take care of her without feeling weak or diminished. Learned that strength wasn't just about protecting others sometimes. It was about letting yourself be protected. 3 months after the shooting, Maya took her first walk around the block without assistance. Sarah walked beside her, ready to catch her if she fell, celebrating each step like a miracle. 6 months after the shooting, Maya was cleared to return to light duty. Not street work, she'd never be cleared for that again. Not with her injuries, but administrative work, training new recruits. Making a difference in a different way. 8 months after the shooting, on a quiet evening in late fall, Sarah took Maya to the park where they'd had their first real conversation outside the hospital. The leaves were turning gold and red, and the air had that crisp quality that promised winter. I've been thinking, Sarah said as they walked hand in hand. Always dangerous, Maya teased. When I was sitting in that waiting room, waiting to hear if you'd survived, I made myself a promise that if you pulled through, I'd stop wasting time. Stop being scared. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is just the one where we're both alive and together. Sarah stopped walking, turned to face Maya. You changed my life, Maya Rodriguez. From the moment you came through those A doors, you've been changing it. You taught me that there's more to life than work. That love is worth the risk. That sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself be vulnerable. Sarah dropped to one knee, pulled out a small velvet box. So I'm asking you right here, right now, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life being brave enough to love you? Maya was crying, laughing, pulling Sarah to her feet. Yes, God, yes. 1,000 times yes. The kiss was long and deep and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, Sarah slipped the ring onto Maya's finger, a simple band with a small diamond, elegant and understated, just like Maya. I love you, Sarah said. I love you too. Have since 3 a.m. in that operating room. When duty met destiny. When duty met destiny, Maya agreed. They married 6 months later in a small ceremony surrounded by family and friends. Maya wore a sleek black suit that made Sarah's breath catch. Sarah wore a flowing white dress that made Maya's eyes go soft with wonder. Detective Martinez was Maya's best man. Dr. Patricia Kim was Sarah's maid of honor. Maya's abuela cried through the entire ceremony. Sarah's mother couldn't stop smiling when they exchanged vows. Sarah spoke of love as an emergency, something requiring immediate action, full commitment, all her skill and care. Maya spoke of love as duty, not obligation, but the sacred responsibility to protect and cherish. To show up every day and do the work. I promise to wake you when the nightmares come, Sarah said. I promise to hold you when the job gets too hard, Maya replied. I promise to make time for family dinners, even when I'm exhausted. I promise to leave you notes, so you never forget you're loved. I promise to choose us, even when it's hard. I promise to choose us. Always, when the officiant pronounced them married, their kiss was met with cheers and applause. As they walked back down the aisle hand in hand, Sarah caught Maya's eye and smiled. No regrets? She whispered. Not a single one, Maya whispered back. The reception was loud and joyful. They danced their first dance to a song about coming home. They cut a cake that Maya's abuela had insisted on making. They laughed and cried and celebrated with everyone they loved. Late in the evening, they slipped away to a quiet corner, still in their wedding clothes, stealing a moment alone. Can you believe we almost didn't do this? Sarah said. All the reasons we had to walk away to protect ourselves. I'm glad we were brave, Maya said. I'm glad you asked me for coffee that day. I'm glad you got shot. Sarah immediately winced. God, that came out wrong. Maya laughed. I know what you mean. I'm glad to. Not about the getting shot part, but about everything that came after. About finding you. They stood there in the quiet. Two women who'd found each other in the chaos of trauma and emergency. Who'd built something real and lasting from the most unlikely beginning. What do you think happens next? Maya asked. Sarah considered. They'd bought a house together, merged their complicated lives into something beautifully messy. They talked about kids someday, maybe adoption. They'd made plans and dreams and promises. I think, Sarah said slowly, we keep showing up. Keep choosing each other. Keep being brave enough to love each other, even when it's hard. Sounds perfect to me. Yeah, Sarah agreed, pulling her wife close. Me too. 5 years later, Sarah was paged to the ER for an incoming trauma. She was the head of the department now, had achieved every professional goal she'd set for herself. But her greatest achievement, she knew, was the life she'd built with Maya. The ambulance pulled up and Sarah's team assembled. What do we have? She called out. Female, age 32, car accident. Multiple injuries. As they worked to stabilize the patient, Sarah found herself thinking about that night 5 years ago, when Maya had been wheeled through these same doors. How terrified she'd been. How determined to save her. Love was an emergency, she'd realized. It required everything you had. But unlike the emergencies she faced in this love also gave back. It filled you up even as it emptied you out. It made you braver and stronger and more yourself. Her phone buzzed with a text from Maya. Dinner at 7? Bring wine. I have news. Sarah smiled as she worked, wondering what the news was. They'd been talking about starting the adoption process. Maybe that was it. Or maybe Maya had been promoted. Or maybe it was nothing at all, just an excuse to have dinner together on a Thursday night. Whatever it was, Sarah would be there. Because that was what they did. They showed up for each other over and over. Through emergencies and ordinary days. Through trauma and triumph, she finished with her patient, scrub it out, and headed to her office to finish some paperwork before she could leave. On her desk was a sticky note in Maya's handwriting. Still can't believe I get to love you. See you tonight, wife? Sarah pressed the note to her heart, already counting down the minutes until she could go home. Home to Maya, to the life they built, to the love that had started at 3 a.m. on the worst and best night of their lives. When duty met destiny. Indeed, and they were still writing their story, one day, one choice. One act of bravery at a time. Sarah arrived home at 7:15. Fashionably late as always, carrying a bottle of Merlot and an apology on her lips. But Maya just smiled from the kitchen, stirring something that smelled incredible. You're cooking? Sarah set down the wine, genuinely shocked. Who are you and what have you done with my wife? I've been practicing with Abuela. Maya turned and Sarah saw the nervous excitement in her eyes. I wanted tonight to be special. Sarah's heart quickened. What's going on? Eat first. Then we talk. Dinner was surprisingly good. Maya had made Sarah's favorite sesame chicken with vegetables. They ate on the back patio of their small house, the evening warm and golden. Sarah studied her wife across the table, noting the way Maya kept fidgeting with her napkin, the way she'd barely touched her food. Okay, you're killing me, Sarah finally said. What's the news? Maya took a deep breath. Remember how we talked about adoption? About starting a family? Of course. Well, I've been doing research. A lot of research. And I found an agency that specializes in LGBTQ adoptions. They have this program for fostering kids who are waiting for permanent placement. Maya pulled out her phone, showed Sarah a website. I've reached out to them. We have an appointment next week for an information session. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. Really? You did that? I know we said we'd wait until we were both more established, but Sarah, we're 37 and 38. If we're going to do this, I want to do it now. While we're young enough to keep up with a kid. Maya reached across the table, took Sarah's hands. Unless you're not ready. Then we wait. I won't pressure you. I'm ready, Sarah said immediately. God, Maya, I'm so ready. I didn't know how to bring it up because I know how busy I've been with the promotion, and I didn't want you to think that I don't support your career. Sarah, I've always supported your career. But I also want this. Want us to have a family. They spent the rest of dinner planning, dreaming out loud. A child, their child. The idea felt massive and terrifying and absolutely right. That night, lying in bed with Maya's head on her shoulder, Sarah whispered, what if I'm terrible at it? At being a mom? You won't be. You're incredible with kids at the hospital. That's different. I can hand them back. Maya lifted her head, looked at her seriously. Are you having second thoughts? No, just regular thoughts. Scared thoughts. Good, because I'm terrified too. Maya settled back down. But I think we can be terrified together. Just like we've been brave together. The information session was overwhelming. Forms and regulations, home studies and background checks. The reality of taking in children who'd experienced trauma and loss. Sarah's medical training kicked in. She took copious notes. Asked detailed questions about support services and trauma-informed care. Maya was quieter. But Sarah could see her processing everything. Her cop instincts assessing and evaluating. On the drive home, Maya said, that was a lot. Yeah. Still in? Sarah didn't hesitate. Absolutely. You? Wouldn't miss it for the world. The process took 6 months. 6 months of paperwork and interviews, of preparing their home and their hearts. They took classes on fostering, learned about attachment disorders and trauma responses. They baby-proofed the house even though they'd requested a child between 5 and 10 years old. Sarah's colleagues thought she was crazy, taking this on with her demanding job. Maya's family thought it was wonderful and immediately started buying toys and clothes. Patricia told Sarah she was proud of her. Martinez told Maya he'd be the best uncle ever. Then on a Tuesday morning in March, they got the call. "We have a placement for you," the social worker said. Her name is Isabella. She's 7 years old. Her mother died 6 months ago from an overdose, and she's been in 3 foster homes since. She's having a hard time. What does that mean? Sarah asked, phone on speaker so Maya could hear. She's scared. She's angry. She doesn't trust easily. The last home couldn't handle her outbursts and asked for her to be moved. The social worker's voice was gentle. "I know it's not what you were hoping for. When can we meet her?" Maya interrupted. "Tomorrow, if you're willing." Sarah looked at Maya, saw her own hope and fear reflected back. "We're willing." Isabella Martinez was tiny for 7, with dark curls and eyes that had seen too much. She sat in the social worker's office clutching a stuffed bear, looking at Sarah and Maya like they might hurt her at any moment. "Isabella, these are Sarah and Maya. They'd like to be your foster moms," the social worker said gently. The little girl said nothing. Sarah knelt down to be at her eye level. "Hi, Isabella. That's a nice bear. What's their name?" A long pause. Then, so quietly Sarah almost missed it. "Mocha. Mocha's a great name. I had a stuffed rabbit when I was your age named Dr. Hoppy." The corner of Isabella's mouth twitched. "That's a silly name." It really was. But I loved him anyway. Sarah glanced at Maya, who knelt beside her. "We know this is scary. New people, new place. But we'd really like you to come stay with us. We have a room all ready for you, and we'll do our best to make you feel safe." "My other foster parents said that too," Isabella said flatly. "Then they sent me away." Maya spoke up. "We're not going to send you away, Isabella. That's a promise." Everyone promises. Everyone lies. It broke Sarah's heart. This child, so young, already so disillusioned. "You're right," Sarah said. "Adults do lie sometimes. And I can't prove to you right now that we won't. But how about this, you come stay with us for a little while and we'll show you. With actions, not just words." Isabella considered this. "What if I'm bad? What if you're not?" Maya countered gently. "What if you're just a kid who's been through something really hard, and sometimes that makes you act out? That doesn't make you bad, Isabella. That makes you human." The little girl studied them both for a long moment. Then she stood up, still clutching Mocha. "Okay, but if you send me away, I won't be surprised." Sarah's eyes burned with unshed tears. "Fair enough." The first week was how Isabella tested every boundary. She refused to eat, then demanded food at midnight. She threw tantrums over homework, over bedtime, over nothing at all. She told Sarah she hated her, told Maya she wanted a different family. Broke a lamp and claimed it was an accident, even though they both seen her throw it. Sarah came home after a brutal 16-hour shift to find Maya sitting on the kitchen floor, exhausted and frustrated. "She locked herself in the bathroom and won't come out," Maya said. "She's been in there for 2 hours. I tried everything." Sarah sat down beside her wife, took her hand. "Maybe that's okay. Maybe she just needs space. What if she hurts herself?" "She won't. The bathroom is safe, we made sure of that." Sarah leaned her head on Maya's shoulder. "She's testing us, seeing if we'll give up on her like everyone else has." "I'm not giving up. Neither am I, but God, this is hard." "Yeah," Maya agreed. "It really is." They sat there together in the quiet, just being present. Eventually, they heard the bathroom door unlock. Isabella peeked out, saw them sitting on the floor and frowned. "Why are you sitting there?" "Waiting for you," Sarah said simply. "Figured you'd come out when you were ready. You're not mad?" "A little frustrated," Sarah admitted. But not mad." "Are you okay?" Isabella shrugged, still worried. "I guess. Are you hungry?" "Maya makes really good grilled cheese." Another shrug. But she came out of the bathroom, sat at the kitchen table. Maya made 3 grilled cheeses, and they ate in silence. It wasn't much, but it was something. Progress came in tiny increments. Isabella started eating breakfast with them. She let Sarah help with her homework without a fight. She told Maya about a girl at school who'd been mean to her, and Maya talked her through it instead of going into protective cop mode. 2 months in, Sarah came home to find Isabella and Maya in the living room reading together. Maya was on the couch, Isabella curled up beside her, and the sight of it made Sarah's heart swell. "What are we reading?" she asked, setting down her bag. "Charlotte's Web," Isabella answered. "It's sad. Charlotte dies." "She does," Sarah agreed. "But she also does something amazing first. She saves her friend." Isabella thought about this. "Like you saved Maya? When she got shot?" Sarah blinked, surprised. Maya must have told her their story. "Yeah, kind of like that. And Maya saved that kid. The one at the store, she did." Isabella looked between them. Do you think my mom saved me? By giving me up before she died? So I wouldn't see her all sick and stuff?" Sarah's throat tightened. She sat down on Isabella's other side. "I think your mom loved you very much. And sometimes love means making really hard choices. I miss her." "Of course you do. You'll always miss her, and that's okay." Isabella was quiet for a long moment. Then, so softly Sarah almost missed it. "Can I call you Mom? Both of you?" Sarah looked at Maya, saw tears in her wife's eyes. "If you want to," Sarah managed. "We'd be honored. Which one of you is which? Like, are you Mom and Mom or Mom and Mama, or what do you want to call us?" Maya asked. Isabella considered. "You're Mama," she said to Maya, "because you're tough. And your Mom," she said to Sarah, "because you fix people." "Works for us," Sarah said, pulling their daughter into a hug. That night, after Isabella was asleep, Sarah and Maya lay in bed processing. "She called us Mom," Maya whispered. Wonder in her voice. "She called us Mom," Sarah echoed. "I never thought I'd get this. After Rachel, after the shooting, I thought that part of my life was over." "Me too," Sarah admitted. "I thought I'd missed my chance. Guess we were both wrong. Best mistake we ever made." The adoption finalization hearing was 9 months later, on a crisp November morning. Isabella wore a new dress that Maya's mother had bought her. Sarah and Maya wore matching suits. The courtroom was packed with family, both of theirs, all there to witness. The judge smiled down at Isabella. "Do you understand what's happening today?" "I'm getting adopted," Isabella said confidently. "By my mom's. For real, forever." "That's right. And you're okay with that?" "Yeah, they're pretty cool. Mom makes bad jokes and Mama taught me how to throw a punch. She says I need to know how to defend myself." The judge laughed. "Sound reasoning. And Sarah, Maya, you understand that adoption is permanent? That you're taking on all the responsibilities and joys of parenthood?" "We do," they said together. "Then it's my honor to grant this adoption. Congratulations, family." The gavel came down, and suddenly Isabella was legally theirs. Their daughter, forever. Isabella threw herself at them, and they caught her, holding her between them as everyone applauded. Sarah was crying. Maya was crying. Even tough Detective Martinez was suspiciously misty-eyed. At the celebration dinner later, Isabella stood up and clinked her juice glass with a spoon, demanding attention. "I want to say something." The restaurant quieted down. "A year ago, I didn't have a family. I mean, I had my mom, but she was sick, and then she died, and I thought I'd never have anyone again. And then I met Mom and Mama, and they were weird." Laughter from the crowd. "But nice. And they didn't give up on me even when I was mean and broke stuff and yelled. They just kept being there, so thank you. For not giving up. For being my family." Sarah couldn't speak past the lump in her throat. Maya pulled Isabella into a hug, whispering something in her ear that made the little girl smile. That night, tucking Isabella into bed in her room, their home, their daughter's room, Sarah sat on the edge of the mattress. "You know we love you, right? No matter what. Even when you break stuff or yell." "I know. I love you too, Mom and Mama. Sweet dreams, sweetheart." "Mom?" "Yeah? I'm glad you saved Mama that night at the hospital." Because if you hadn't, I wouldn't have you guys. Sarah's heart squeezed. Me too, baby. Me too. 5 more years passed in a blur of school plays and soccer games, of family dinners and hospital shifts, of Maya teaching Isabella self-defense and Sarah helping with science projects. Their daughter grew from a scared, angry 7-year-old into a confident, compassionate 12-year-old who wanted to be a doctor when she grew up. Or maybe a cop, she'd say. I can't decide. Maybe both. You can be anything you want, Maya always told her. Life wasn't perfect. Sarah still worked too many hours sometimes. Maya still had nightmares about the shooting. Isabella still had moments where the trauma of her early years surfaced, where she needed extra reassurance that they weren't going to leave her, but they worked through it, together, as a family. Then on a Saturday morning in June, Isabella came downstairs for breakfast with a serious look on her face. I want to find my mom, she announced. Sarah and Maya exchanged glances. They'd known this might come eventually. Your birth mom? Sarah clarified. Yeah, I mean, not to live with her or anything. She's dead. But like, her family. My family. I want to know where I came from. Maya reached across the table, took her hand. That's understandable, Mia. And we'll help you however we can. You're not mad? Why would we be mad? Sarah asked gently. Isabella, we've always known you had a mother before us. Someone who loved you and gave you life. Wanting to know about her doesn't take anything away from us. Isabella's eyes filled with tears. Some kids at school said you're not my real moms. That my real mom is dead and you're just pretending. Maya's jaw tightened. Those kids are idiots. Maya, Sarah warned, but she was angry too. No, they are. Isabella, listen to me. Maya came around the table, knelt in front of their daughter. You have 2 moms. The one who gave birth to you and loved you enough to make sure you were safe even when she couldn't be there for you. And us, the ones who chose you, who fought for you, who will be here for you every single day of your life. Both things are true. Both things are real, so it's okay if I want to know about her. It's more than okay, Sarah said. It's healthy. And we'll help you. The search took 3 months. They hired a private investigator who specialized in adoption searches. He found Isabella's maternal grandmother living in a small town upstate. Along with an uncle and 2 cousins Isabella had never met. Sarah called first, explaining the situation. The grandmother dying cried on the phone. I thought I'd lost her forever, she said. After my daughter died, they said Isabella was in the system, but I couldn't. I was too old, they said, too sick to take her in. I thought about her every day. They arranged a meeting at a neutral location, a park halfway between both their homes. Sarah and Maya drove Isabella up on a Sunday morning. All 3 of them nervous. Diane was waiting on a bench with a younger man, Isabella's uncle Marcus, and 2 teenagers. When she saw Isabella, she stood up, one hand pressed to her mouth. You look just like her, she whispered. Just like my Elena. Isabella walked forward slowly, Sarah and Maya hanging back to give her space. Hi, I'm Isabella. I know, honey. Oh, I know. Diane opened her arms, and after a moment's hesitation, Isabella stepped into them. Sarah felt Maya's hand find hers, squeezed tight. This was hard, watching their daughter connect with her biological family, wondering if it would change things between them. But then Isabella turned, gestured for them to come closer. Grandma Diane, Uncle Marcus, these are my moms. Sarah and Maya. Thank you, Diane said, shaking both their hands with tears streaming down her face. Thank you for taking care of my grandbaby. For giving her the life Elena wanted for her. They spent the afternoon together. Marcus showed Isabella pictures of her mother as a child. The cousins taught her a clapping game. Diane told stories about Elena's love of music, her bright smile, her struggles with addiction that eventually claimed her life. She tried so hard, Diane said. But sometimes trying isn't enough. The drugs? They took her from us. Isabella listened to it all, asked questions, cried a little. Sarah and Maya stayed close but let her lead. Let her process this connection to her past. On the drive home, Isabella was quiet for a long time. Then, I'm glad I met them. Yeah? Maya said from the driver's seat. Yeah, but I'm also glad I have you guys. Is that weird? Not at all, Sarah said from the back seat where she'd been sitting next to Isabella. You can love them and love us. Hearts are big enough for that. I think I want to see them again. Like, maybe we could visit sometimes? Of course, Maya said immediately. They're your family too. But you guys are my real family. Like, the family I choose. Sarah smiled. We choose you too, sweetheart. Every single day. The years continued to unfold. Isabella visited her grandmother and uncle regularly, building a relationship with her biological family while remaining firmly rooted with Sarah and Maya. She excelled in school, made the honor roll, started volunteering at the hospital where Sarah worked. I like helping people, she told her moms one night over dinner. She was 15 now, rapidly approaching the age where she'd be thinking about college. I think I want to be a trauma surgeon. Like Mom, it's a hard life, Sarah warned. Long hours, difficult cases. I know. But it's also amazing, right? You save lives. You give people second chances. Isabella looked between her mothers. Like you gave me. Maya cleared her throat, suspiciously emotional. You're going to be incredible at whatever you do. I know, Isabella said with the confidence of a teenager. Because I had the best teachers. Sarah was working late one night when she got a page to the EA, major trauma incoming. She scrubbed in quickly, arriving just as the ambulance pulled up. What do we have? She called out. Female, age 19, college student, hit by a drunk driver. Sarah's blood ran cold as they wheeled the gurney past. The girl's face was battered and bloody, but there was something about her. Something that reminded Sarah of another trauma case years ago. She shook it off, focused on the work. The girl had internal bleeding, a collapsed lung, multiple fractures. It was bad. But Sarah had handled worse. 4 hours later, she walked out of the OR exhausted but satisfied. The girl would live. Would recover. Would get her second chance. In the waiting room, she found a young woman pacing frantically. Are you the doctor? Is Jenna okay? She's stable. She needs time to recover, but she's going to be fine. The woman collapsed into a chair, sobbing with relief. Thank God. Thank God. She's my girlfriend. We've been together 2 years and I can't lose her. Sarah sat down beside her, this young woman who reminded her of herself a decade ago. What's your name? Alex. Alex, her girlfriend, is going to be okay. But the recovery is going to be long and hard. She's going to need you. Can you do that? Of course. I'll do anything good. Sarah stood, preparing to head back to check on her patient. But she paused. Can I tell you something? Sure. 11 years ago, I was where you are now. Waiting to hear if the woman I loved was going to survive. And she did. And we got married, and we built a life together, and we adopted a daughter who's now planning to follow in my footsteps. Sarah smiled. What I'm saying is, this isn't the end. It's scary as hell right now, but it's not the end. It could be a beginning. Alex wiped her eyes. Thank you. For saving her. And for telling me that. Thank you for being there for her. That matters more than you know. Sarah headed back to check on our patient, thinking about beginnings and second chances. About the night Maya had come through those doors and changed her life forever, some things, she reflected, came full circle in the most beautiful ways. Isabella graduated high school at the top of her class. She'd been accepted to several prestigious universities with pre-med programs. At her graduation party, surrounded by both of her family's Sarah and Maya's people, and grandmother Diane and Uncle Marcus, she gave a speech. When I was 7 years old, I thought my life was over. I'd lost my birth mother, been through multiple foster homes, and I was angry at the world. Then I met 2 women who refused to give up on me, who showed me what real love looks like, not just the feeling, but the action. The choice to keep showing up, even when it's hard. She looked at Sarah and Maya, standing together near the back of the yard. Mom and Mama taught me that family isn't just about biology. It's about commitment. It's about choosing each other every single day. They chose me when I was at my worst, and they've been choosing me ever since. Isabella raised her glass. So here's to second chances. To brave choices. To the kind of love that saves lives, whether in an operating room or around a dinner table. And here's to my moms who showed me that when duty meets destiny, magic happens. The crowd erupted in applause. Sarah was crying openly now, and Maya wasn't far behind. They made their way through the crowd to their daughter, pulled her into a three-way hug that felt like coming home. "We're so proud of you," Sarah whispered. "We love you so much," Maya added. "I love you too," Isabella said. "Thank you for saving me." "Both of you." "You saved us right back," Sarah told her. "You made us a family." That night, after the party had wound down and Isabella had gone to bed, Sarah and Maya sat on their back patio under the stars. The same patio where Maya had first told Sarah about the adoption agency. The same patio where they'd made countless decisions about their life together. 13 years, Maya said softly. "Since that night in the 13 years, Sarah echoed. "Feels like yesterday and a lifetime ago. Do you ever regret it? Taking a chance on me?" Sarah turned to look at her wife, this woman who'd been her partner through everything. "Not for a single second, you?" "Never." Maya laced their fingers together. "We've built something pretty incredible, haven't we?" "We really have." They sat in comfortable silence, listening to the night sounds, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. From a 3 a.m. emergency to a lifetime of love. From two scared women protecting their hearts to a family of 3 who chose each other every day. Sarah? I'd do it all again. Every scary moment, every hard choice. As long as it led me here, to you, to Isabella, to this life. Sarah squeezed her hand. Me too. 1,000 times over? Above them, the stars wheeled in their ancient patterns, bearing witness to love stories old and new. And in that backyard, 2 women who'd found each other in the chaos of trauma and emergency sat together, grateful for every moment that had brought them to this place when duty met destiny. Indeed, and the story they'd started writing at 3 a.m. in that hospital was still unfolding. Still being written, still proof that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply choose to love fiercely, wholly and without reservation, because that, in the end, was what saved lives. That was what built families. That was what made everything worth it.